Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know it's not Monday for Mindfulness Mondays, but it's Thoughtful Tuesday, which just came to me today. So I want to talk to you about something that I was triggered about today, but in a good way, which is led to this rant actually. So my friend Amber and I had just launched our Yoga for All training. So Yoga for All training is really a program designed to help teachers be more skillful and help students to feel more comfortable on the mat. And the first module launched yesterday, and we talk about body image in the first module. And when I talk about body image, I talk about fat shaming and diet culture. So I was really inspired by one of our students in the class. Her name is Heather, who observed the culture within her yoga studio and found it to be body shaming and contributing to people's feeling around their self-esteem and self-worth. So she talked to her staff about how she felt about some of the tactics they're using and how they're teaching yoga and how they're talking to some of their students, and if they could find a better way that doesn't encourage body shaming and fat shaming. And the reaction she got back was like pushback. People got defensive, and that didn't surprise me at all, because as a culture we have been so conditioned to focus on what we look like, right? And that has always been more important than our self-esteem or self-worth. So just to give you a little bit of statistics, eating disorders is the #1 mental disorder that ends in death. 10% of people who have an eating disorder or disordered eating will die from their disordered eating, like 10% within that population. Did you know that 1 in 4 diets leads to disordered eating? And I speak about this very personally because I spent probably 15 years of my life in a disordered eating situation. When I was young, I ended up in the hospital, and it was very serious. And this all stemmed from the fact that I was bullied and picked on by my dad for my weight, and that there was always a lot of focus in my family on what you look like. And I spent my whole life trying to look like something that I could never achieve without having an eating disorder. Then when I was in my 30s, I think I lost like 100 pounds, and it triggered that whole disordered eating. I wasn't starving myself, but I was doing excessive exercise. I would get up and go to the gym at 4:30. I'd work out for an hour and a half. Then I would teach a fitness class, a group fitness class, for an hour. Then I go to work, and I would obsess all day about what I was eating and count calories ferociously all day. Then come home, eat salad for dinner, and run for an hour. And I did that for 5 or 6 years. So I'm actually really surprised that my body is as capable as it is now, because I've been starving it for probably most of my life. So this is something that really touches my heart. I have a theory about how diet culture seeped its way into the yoga practice. I started out as a group fitness instructor when I was 17 years old. I took a class in high school called fitness, and it was a project to lead classes. So I would get part of the gym, I would tape music off the radio, this was the 80s, and I would put together these tapes, and my friends and I would work out in the gym, and that was part of my credit for high school gym. And then I liked teaching group fitness, and when I went to university I ended up taking what was called FOLP, which was fitness leadership. And I took this class and I became a fitness instructor, and I started teaching at the YMCA, and then I started teaching at local gyms. And that was my introduction into group fitness. So I've been teaching group fitness since I was 17, so for a lot of years. And the culture around group fitness is to body shame people into losing weight or into getting healthy or getting fit, which is really psychological warfare on people, right? These types of messages that we're surrounded by completely chip away at our self-esteem and ultimately our soul. So following all the fads of group fitness, there was first like high and low classes, which was like dancercise. And then the step came out in the early 90s, and everybody was doing step class. Everybody had these Reebok step shoes. Do you guys remember that? I used to wear that leotard with the thong and the headband, the whole 9 yards, the leg warmers. And then that morphed into group cycling. Do you remember group cycling? Everybody get on the bike and cycle. There was a moment in there where we had the slide fitness, where we were sliding across this piece of plastic. And then we started moving into mindfulness. The next fitness craze became yoga, and then we all ran off as group fitness instructors and became yoga teachers. A lot of us. That's kind of my introduction to teaching yoga in a group fitness atmosphere. My introduction to yoga happened for me personally with my mom, and you know, a lot of you know my story, but that whole group fitness mentality transferred over into the yoga community because it was the next fad, the fitness fad. So what we've been teaching ourselves, or what we've been teaching our students, fat shaming people into thinness, you know, telling them, come on, let's get rid of our flabby bodies, or let's get tight abs, or whatever it was, because I said all those things. I used to have an ab class at the university that I did to a Janet Jackson song called If, because I remember the video with her in these carved abs, which I begin to think may have been painted on, but who knows. And enhanced by that anyway. So, and I used to teach like a 7-minute ab class where we would just like do these crazy ab exercises, and only ab exercises. Never thought about balancing out with doing any kind of low back exercises or glutes or legs or anything like that. And I just remember shaming people into these, you know, six-pack, which isn't going to happen for everybody, right? There's a genetic thing that has to happen for you to have that six-pack, and truth of the matter is everybody's got that six-pack. You might have extra skin covering it. So anyway, don't get me started on that. But I think that's what's kind of creeped into the yoga culture. So to continue back to the story about people getting defensive about asking them to change their behavior, which is really interesting to me in a yoga studio, because we're asking people to take a moment for self-reflection, because the activities that you are doing within your teaching are causing harm. And the first thing that yoga talks about is ahimsa, cause no harm, do no violence. And these attitudes like, you know what, go ahead and eat as much as you want in Thanksgiving, we're gonna burn it off in our hot yoga class by doing 100 planks and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't contribute to positive self-esteem, and I think it totally misses the message of what this practice is about. We are trying not to have people have a downward spiral on their mat, have a whole moment of self-hate in a practice that is designed to create unity and lift people up. So I want to thank Heather for stepping out of her comfort zone, for speaking up, and for really observing, really being mindful, being aware of what's going on, and talking to her studio, her manager. I think that's so brave to call out your boss on some behavior that could be damaging. But we have to remember that we have been conditioned for so long that people honestly don't want to hear it. But if you're paying attention to anything that's going on in media and in the world, we're starting to see that people are pushing back, and that's the one step. How do you use your privilege and your power to undo harmful messages and to undo what I call root chakra conditioning, stuff that we've been taught since birth about what we need to believe? Things like, as a woman, you have to, you know, get a good job and then get married and have kids, and somehow if you don't have children, you're unfulfilled, and blah, blah, blah. All that nonsense that is designed to keep people constantly guessing about who they are, designed to chip away at your soul, designed to chip away at your self-esteem, and it has to stop. So what happens, or how do we make it stop? We speak up. And when we see things happening that we don't agree with or contributes to harm to our students, we need to speak up. So I appreciate her bravery. And I'm going to ask you, where can you start speaking up compassionately, right? You don't need to shame the shamers, but we do need to bring it to their attention that we are creating harm on the mat. And that we need to step out of diet culture, because diet culture is what keeps you constantly worried about your weight, constantly worried about what you're looking like, and spending all your time on your body as a project that needs to be fixed, instead of enjoying the life you're in and working out or doing physical activity because it feels good and you like your body and you like yourself. So something to think about on your Thoughtful Tuesdays. Thank you for being here for my 9-minute rant, and I appreciate you. Please comment below with whatever thoughts you have, or whatever experiences you have, or how you will start shifting the culture around fat shaming, body shaming, and stupid diet culture. Thanks everybody. Namaste.